All right, welcome back. So today we've got a really interesting puzzle from the world of modern farming. How in the world do you keep track of one specific animal when it's just one face in a very, very crowded herd? As you're about to see, the answer involves some pretty clever AI.
I mean, it seems simple enough, right? But think about it. In a real barn, you've got cows moving all over the place, they're bunching up, hiding behind each other. For a camera, trying to tell one from another, frame after frame, yeah, that's a huge challenge.
For years, we really had two main ways of doing this. You've got your contact trackers, things like collars or ear tags. And sure, they work, but they can be expensive, the batteries die, and they can even cause stress or infection in the animals. And then you have cameras. They're cheap, they're non-intrusive, but they have their own problems, like blind spots, weird angles, and the big one, occlusion, which is just a fancy word for when one cow blocks your view of another. So why is getting this right such a high-stakes problem? Well, because for a modern farmer, this isn't just about counting heads. No, every single step a cow takes, it's like a data point. It contains vital information. Think of it this way. A cow's movement is kind of like its personal health diary. If its walking pattern changes, that could be the very first sign of an illness. A sudden burst of activity can signal estrus, which is absolutely critical for breeding. You can even spot stress levels and start to understand the social dynamics of the entire herd. It's really the foundation of what's known as precision livestock farming. So, to get past all these classic camera problems, researchers knew they needed a breakthrough. They needed a much smarter system, basically a new set of digital eyes on the herd. And this is it, MCMCT. Now that stands for multi-camera, multi-cow tracking. The really key idea here is that it's built to work with multiple, normal, non-overhead cameras, the kind you'd actually find on a farm, and it figures out how to stitch all those views together seamlessly. But before the AI can even start tracking a cow, it has to solve a basic geometry problem. It's got to figure out how to make sense of the barn's layout from a totally warped, angled camera view. And the way it does this is, honestly, it's brilliant. First, it calibrates the camera to correct for any lens distortion. Second, it calculates something called a homography matrix, which is a fancy way of saying it creates a mathematical translator that links the camera's 2D image to the 3D reality of the barn floor. And finally, it uses that translator to project the angled image into this perfect, flat, top-down map. Okay, so this is what the camera normally sees, right? It's a perspective view, a cow in the back looks way smaller, and you have no idea how far it's actually walking. It's a completely warped sense of space. But after applying that magic homography matrix, the system gives you this, a totally clean bird's eye view. Now, everything makes sense. Every single pixel corresponds to a real-world spot on the floor. A step is a step, no matter where that cow is. All right, so the map is solved. Now the AI can put on its detective hat. Its next big challenge is to actually find each cow in the crowd and, this is the hard part, remember who is who from 1 second to the next. And the AI is up against two huge hurdles. First, on the left, just seeing in a crowd. I mean, when cows bunch up, their outlines just merge. The AI can get totally confused and draw its little detection box in the wrong spot. And then, on the right, you've got the problem of remembering a face. A cow looks completely different from the front than it does from the side or the back. This can easily trick the AI into thinking it's a brand new cow every time one just turns around. So, to solve that crowd problem, the system uses a really cool technique called repulsion loss. The best way to think about it is like a digital force field around each cow. It basically teaches the AI to push those detection boxes away from each other so they don't drift and overlap. This helps it lock onto the right animal even when they're shoulder to shoulder. And this quote from the original research paper just nails that second and maybe even tougher challenge. When a cow faces the camera from different angles, its appearance may be completely different. So how do you keep a consistent ID on something that's constantly changing its look? Well, the solution is incredibly clever. It's a technique called PTE, or Posture-Aware Temporal Smooth Embedding. And here's the genius part. Instead of getting confused by all those changing views, the AI actually uses them to its advantage. It starts building what you can think of as a dynamic photo album for each individual cow.
And inside that album, the AI is constantly updating a profile for each animal. It keeps the most recent view, sure, but it also learns and remembers what that specific cow looks like from the front, from the back, from the left, and from the right. Over time, it's building a complete 360-degree visual identity.
And this is the crucial point. Because the system remembers what, say, cow number 3 looks like from all sides, it dramatically reduces the most common tracking error out there, the ID switch. The AI doesn't get confused and assign a whole new identity to a cow that just turned around. Okay, so that's the theory, right? A flat map of the barn and an AI with a photographic memory for every cow. So, after all that clever engineering, did it actually work? How did it perform in a real-world test?
Oh yeah, the results were pretty significant. For the toughest task of all, tracking a cow as it moves from one camera's view into another, this MCMCT system was a staggering 21.32% more accurate than the older methods. That's a huge jump.
And check this out. Its overall tracking score hit an impressive 82.68%. Now that score is a metric called HODA, which is a really smart way to measure performance, because it balances how well the AI detects an animal with how well it maintains the correct identity over time. For such a messy, complex, real-world environment, that is a very solid score.
This chart really just puts that incredible improvement into perspective. You can see the old baseline method on the left, and then bam, look at that massive leap you get with the new MCMCT method on the right. For farmers, that jump means a huge increase in reliability.
So what's the big takeaway here? Ultimately, this tech gives farmers a really solid data foundation. It makes automated, non-intrusive monitoring possible, and that can directly improve the health and welfare of their animals.
But you know, this kind of breakthrough is about more than just animal welfare. It proves that AI can learn to see, identify, and remember individuals in a really complex, crowded world. So it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question. If AI can decode the behavior of a herd this well, what other complex group behaviors could it help us understand? Not just on a farm, but, out in the wider world.